We've done a few renovations. I've did in my daughter's home. We've changed all the windows. There was old timber frame, single glazing windows, but the frames were so good, we decided to leave the frames. And that's the timber frames is still brilliant insulator. Timber is just as good, but to get the benefit of triple glazing and the fully sealed windows, we left the frames, cut everything out and push. We have a frame which with the flange. It works really well. You just push it in, screw, and it's got the rubber seal, sealed all up, and you just have to finish on the inside. And it's easy, non-intrusive, don't damage any walls, and you have triple glazing straight away, insulated windows. Other job we did just finished now was in Celia Street in Redcliffs. There was full renovations, and the owners are German and they wanted German windows, European windows, so they replaced all the sliders, big sliders, and retrofitted brick house, and it fitted perfectly. Black frames, and yeah, fitted the house nicely, and they're really happy. The other thing is with renovations, a lot of people comment on the quietness of the house, because those triple glass windows insulate 32 decibels as a minimum. Straight away cut the noise from the outside. So like you say chainsaw or something would be 60 decibels, you reduce it by half, you'll be hardly hearing it inside. If you're trying to have a conversation through those windows, you can't, because they will cut the sound completely. So you have to open it to talk to somebody.
In terms of home renovation, we have low E glass that sometimes restrictions are in the thickness of the unit. So we can have a higher efficiency low E that will achieve better results. What tends to have happened right up to even now, because there's no regulatory requirement, is that old school clear on clear glass gets used and people think double glazing, it's great. We know that that's not the case, but more to the point, we know we can give significant improvement by adjusting the low E depending again on the thickness of the unit that's required for the home. And it's essential that we address that, because moving forward, even though a lot of new homes are getting built, there's a lot of old homes out there and they're going to be there for a long time, and those people that live in existing houses deserve to live in comfortable, healthy, energy efficient homes as well. And with some design tips that the likes of the Superhome Movement group can provide, including us with the glass side of things, that can be achieved.
I guess the other part of the business, aside from new builds, is renovations, and we do a lot of renovation work. In fact, post-COVID, there's been a real boom in that as people haven't been travelling. Cost of building's a bit uncertain at the moment, the economic pressure, things like that. People are investing in their homes, their nests, and so we spend a lot, probably 2/3, 3/4 of our business at the moment is renovation work, where we go in and replace either ageing aluminium windows or old wooden windows. And we're often compared to either aluminium, or in some places people are considering retrofit double glazing. And again, they go into, quite often homeowners go into that conversation not really understanding how good glass can be and what the impact of the frame is on the performance of the window. And so we spend a lot of time having conversations with homeowners about pros and cons of retrofitting the glass versus replacing the whole window, frame and glass. One of the things we talk about in terms of the glass is the air gap. So what you often find with, getting a little bit technical now, what you often find with retrofitting is that the older frames can't take a very thick glass unit. In fact, what you need is a reasonable air gap, at least 16 millimetres in between the two panes of glass, to really get the value out of even double glazing, let alone triple glazing. You add the coatings to that and you're improving the performance from single glazed glass by 5 or 6 times. It's quite hard to achieve that in old aluminium or timber frames. What you need to do is replace the frame. That has 2 benefits. The frame's a bit thicker, so you can get better glass in, but also by replacing the frame, you're replacing all the hardware and the seals. So the other problem is the air gaps in the old sashes. So you might have upgraded the glass, but you've still got air pouring through the gap between the sash and the frame. So you haven't really solved that problem. Villas are actually quite an easy configuration to retrofit a PVC window to. It's quite interesting that they've, those old timber frame, the outer frame's really good. The issue's the sashes and the connection of the sash to the frame. So we typically keep the old wooden frames, which means that we don't have too much woodwork, because they're often old heart remu and really good quality wooden frames. Take the sashes out, put a new PVC frame, insert it into there, and then inside that rebuild the sashes and the glass. And the outcome's really good. The frame is often still, the new window frame is still sitting quite a way into the insulation line, so it's quite an efficient window. You've still got the problem, of course, the villa's walls and floors and roofs need a little bit of work, but you've started to address the window issue, which is where you're losing anywhere between a third and a half of the heat out of the house. So.
Well, obviously windows are kind of hot. It's a hot topic, and I think windows depend on it depends on the location that you're in, and selecting appropriate kind of types of windows specifications that fit that kind of climate. But yeah, I mean, obviously condensation is a major issue, particularly in Christchurch. But I don't do work in Christchurch. It's normally kind of from Nelson upwards, and so the types of sites that I generally get are they have good exposure to kind of sunlight. So, but looking at kind of Windows specifications, I mean, for sure. I mean, I think, all old kind of, all kind of windows need to be, well, and depending on the age of the building, but you're going to be looking at kind of replacing, all your kind of windows, but again, kind of renovations are, that they are somewhat complex, and the question is, how far do you go on them, and how much money do you invest in them as well. So a recent kind of renovation project for me was working on an old kind of 1970s batch in Taupo, and essentially we stripped the building back to its carcass, to its just frame, and then basically went in and fully re-insulated. We actually ripped all the jib out of the building, and it was literally just the bare bones of the house, and we went through and re-insulated everything, and it was all above to a spec that was substantially above the building code. All the windows were replaced. I think the R value that we ended up was about 0.38. So we're looking at using just standard stock kind of double glazing for the house. So yeah, and that's just currently kind of underway at the moment. But again, I think that's adequate for Taupo region. Obviously, if you're in kind of Christchurch, you're going to be looking at different specification for for your windows and for your house.